Hi there, it's me, Freshie, and today I want to talk about Half-Life 3 if that ever comes out. This video is going to be the first of however many low-effort rant videos I make, and I thought I'd discuss what I want from the next Half-Life. This doesn't warrant a video essay because I don't really want to go into that much detail, but there are a few aspects that I want the next game to get right. The first of which is the story. This may seem obvious, but I want the story to be solid, at least as good as Half-Life 2's. I'm honestly not too worried about this aspect because the writers at Valve are pretty good at what they do, but I'm mentioning it since good storytelling is a staple of the series. Secondly, I'm hoping that this game isn't VR. Don't get me wrong, VR games can be just as good as non-VR games, but playing with a keyboard and mouse is much more comfortable for me than wearing a headset, and I'm sure many people would agree with that. VR is fairly niche, and Half-Life has been on keyboard and mouse for every installment, barring Alex. I don't think wanting the next mainline game to be non-VR is too much to ask for. This next point is pretty important. Valve, please give the player interesting enemies to fight. One of my biggest gripes with Half-Life 2 was that most of the player's enemies were just a bunch of humans. The first game also had an enemy faction with just humans, but the Marines weren't part of an interdimensional alien empire, and there was plenty of combat with aliens from Xen throughout the game. Half-Life 2 occasionally has you fight headcrabs and antlions, but most enemies are human soldiers. The next Half-Life game is a chance for Valve to expand the enemy roster for the Combine. It would make them more fun to fight, and it would also just be cool to see what other aliens work for the Combine. Also, bring back more Xen wildlife. That would be cool, and it would be a nice callback to the first game. Another thing that's fairly important to me is the environments. I want to see a lot of Combine architecture and Xen flora in the next game. One thing I really liked about Half-Life Alyx was the quarantine zone and how it actually looked sci-fi. I know that Eastern European architecture is iconic to Half-Life, specifically to 2, but there should be a lot more unearthly environments in Half-Life 3 to show how Xen and the Combine have affected Earth. One last minor request: make the weapons viable and interesting. Half-Life 1 had a pretty good weapon sandbox. Every weapon had a situation it was best for, and these situations were common enough to justify the weapon's place in the sandbox. The weapons also fit the setting of a research facility under military occupation. Half-Life 2 didn't necessarily drop the ball with its weapons, but many weapons were completely outclassed by others. Once you get the SMG, the pistol is just irrelevant since its accuracy sucks. And the SMG is made redundant by the pulse rifle since it does the same thing but better. Earth is under alien occupation, yet the sandbox doesn't really reflect that. It's not even close to being a deal breaker for me, but I'd love to see alien weapons being used in the next game. Like a Vortigaunt electricity railgun, or something like that. Anyway, that's my list of what I want from the next Half-Life game. I still have hope for it coming out, and while my video almost certainly won't affect how the game turns out, hopefully you can see my point of view. If you have any specific desires for Half-Life 3 you want to share, let me hear it in the comments. This is Freshie Samuel, signing off.